Hey there, I am Alan Gratz, the author of a bunch of different books, including Refugee. Refugee is the story of three kids, Joseph, Isabel, and Mahmoud. They each live in different places and different times, but each of them is driven from his or her home by violence. And with their families, they each struggle to find a new place of safety. In Mahmoud's story, it's 2015 in Aleppo, Syria, and a civil war rages in his country. Mahmoud has just settled in at home to do his math homework, and his younger brother Walid is watching cartoons when both of their lives change forever. I want to read a short passage about Mahmoud from Refugee, and then challenge you to do a little writing of your own. So the passage I'm going to read to you from Refugee is on pages 32 and 33 if you want to read along with me. Mahmoud was just starting a new equation when he heard a sound over the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song. A roar like a hot wind rising outside. In the second it took for the sound to grow from a breeze to a tornado, Mahmoud dropped his pencil, put his hands to his ears, and threw himself under the kitchen table. By now he knew what an incoming missile sounded like. Shtoom! The wall of his apartment exploded, blasting broken bits of concrete and glass throughout the room. The floor lurched up under Mahmoud and threw him and the table and chairs back against the wall of the kitchen. The world was a whirlwind of bricks and broken dishes and table legs and heat, and Mahmoud slammed into a cabinet. His breath left him all at once, and he fell to the floor with a heavy thud and a heap of metal and mortar. Mahmoud's ears rang with a high-pitched whine, like the TV when the satellite was searching for a signal. Above him, what was left of the ceiling light threw sparks. Nothing else mattered in that moment but air. Mahmoud couldn't draw a breath. It was like somebody was sitting on his chest. He thrashed in the rubble, panicking. He couldn't breathe. He flailed wildly at the debris, digging and scratching at the wreckage like he could somehow claw his way back to a place where there was air. And then his lungs were working again, raking in great gulps. The air was full of dust, and it scratched and tore at his throat as it went down, but Mahmoud had never tasted anything so sweet. His ears still rang, but through the buzz he could hear more thuds and booms. It wasn't just his building that had been hit, he realized. It was his whole neighborhood. Mahmoud's head was hot and wet. He put a hand to it and came away with blood. His shoulder ached and his chest still seared with every hard, desperate breath, but the only thing that mattered now was getting to his mother, his sister, his brother. Mahmoud pulled himself up out of the rubble and saw the building across the street in raw daylight, like he was standing in midair beside it. He blinked, still dazed, and then he understood. The entire outside wall of Mahmoud's apartment was gone. So now for your challenge. I want you to imagine that bombs fall on your neighborhood. A lot of people laugh when I suggest that. What? Bombs fall on my neighborhood? It seems impossible. And I truly hope that nothing like that ever happens to anybody who's watching this. But the people of Syria did not expect bombs to fall on them either. And then a civil war started in their country in 2011, and bombs have been falling there ever since. So imagine for a moment that bombs are falling. Your house hasn't been hit yet, but the grocery store has been hit, and your school and the church down the street. You still haven't left yet because this is your home. It's everything you and your parents own, everything your family has worked for and earned. You can't just walk away from it. But then one day, your neighbor's house is hit, and your house is going to be next, and you have 15 minutes to grab anything and everything you can and run. You can only take what will fit in a backpack because you don't know where you're going to go or how long it's going to take to get there, and you may be walking there carrying everything you own on your back for days, for weeks, for months, maybe even years. So I want you to write a scene in which bombs are falling, and you and your family have to pack up and leave. What do you hear? What do you feel? Who do you talk to? What do you do? What do you put in that backpack? And where do you go? Put yourself in the shoes of someone driven from their home by violence. That's what I tried to do with Refugee, and what I want you to do right now.